again. I don't know if you figured that part out yet after, what now, 8 years? But that's how it goes. And with me, I have these three wacky gentlemen that work for an amazing company called ElectroMagnetic Press with some amazing comics that they want to talk to you about, especially their latest one. Hi. Go ahead, gentlemen. Sound off your name. There she is. Sound off your names and what you do.
Don't everybody start at once.
Yeah, that was a rush.
Hi. Yeah, I'll start.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Larry Morgan. I'm one of the, I guess, three legs of Electromagnetic Press. I am a writer and an illustrator on our comic books, and also the most lazy member of the group, I'd say. So I'm usually the drag that makes everything late.
Yay!
We don't have to get that far into the truth, Larry.
I think
We'll get there later.
Oh, yes, we
cab
do.
confessionals. This isn't.
Save
this
that
isn't
for the
confessionals.
director's cut.
The director's cut. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Shane Moore. I think my thing says EMP Comics. That's also my handle on Instagram. I am one of the co-founders. I'm also a leg at EMP. What else? I'm an artist. I write some stuff. Larry and I, my book is The Omens. Larry does The Believer, and Larry writes this book as well. So that's my main book right now. And also Miscellania.
Yeah. My name is Mark Fisher, and I am the handler for Electromagnetic Press. I don't write or draw anything. I constantly send text messages and make phone calls, making sure they are writing and drawing. And I organize, to and from the show and order the merch. And I did a lot of the compiling of the Miscellania magazines too, getting everybody on the same page with that. So that's my role.
So you're the backbone.
Yeah, I've been called worse things.
So, gentlemen, how did you guys meet? What got you into doing this?
Well, Shane and I met in college. We went to the same little local college down here in Fairmont, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
We met. We were both into art and comic books, and pretty early on, we started talking about writing and making our own comic books. And then years and years and years and years later, we finally really did it. And then we put together first issues of the Believerand The Omens, and then we completely stalled out until Mark came along. Mark was we met him. I met him at a free comic book day here in West Virginia, and also found out we had very similar taste in music. We were at the same U2 concert in Pittsburgh, and I think after that we decided we needed to hang out. And then he decided that he liked giving away all of his time to manage Shane and I.
A YouTube concert. You got to tell me who was playing.
No, U2. Sorry.
YouTube. Okay.
Not YouTube.
Like the YouTube concert.
No.
Now we go to YouTube concerts.
What, you want to watch Marshmallow or something?
If there was a YouTube concert, you would be the only two guys to show up.
That's right.
Everybody else would just be at home on their phone.
I've watched quite a few of them since I've been home.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, YouTube, for all those all the fine concert footage out there.
Yeah.
Thank you, YouTube, because I could post videos on there.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
So you guys are actually celebrating the release of a second book. Yay!
Yeah, that's our second anthology.
Because I believe I also have the first one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Yeah.
True fan.
So you were telling me, Mark, when you sent this over to me, that you actually got to meet, and I know a lot of these names. You met a lot of these people recently, about a year ago.
So Miscellania one, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, guys. It took us probably 3 years to put that together.
Correct.
Because we had a hard time articulating, I think, exactly what we were trying to do. So it was hard to get people to come on board. And one of the first places, not the first place, but one of the early places we had that was at Gem City last year. And we were able to hand it to people and say, this is what we're trying to do. And I don't know what it is about Gem City, but everybody was all about it. And we met all kinds of people, and they were like, we want to do this. We want to do this. And the second one came together really quickly, partly because of that.
Right.
I think Carrie Arnold is from the area, and Dan Barlow we met there.
It was just a good crowd. That was a good convention.
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely tell just by looking from the back of the first one, the list of names involved, going into the second one and the list of names involved.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the nice things, like you said, you didn't know what it was about Gem City, is that a lot of the people, and this is true with a lot of shows, but I know Gem City personally, that it's such a great atmosphere, and everybody there's like a big family. You know, they've always got each other's backs. I've seen so many of the creators there go and help up and coming people. Maybe it's their first show. Hey, why don't you try designing your table this way? And they really like being able to help other creators.
Right. Well, and I'll be honest, you know, we had come off a string of pretty bad shows. I mean, ones where we were breaking even, but they hadn't been very good for us. And we went to Gem City, and not only did we love the people, Jay from Mest Comics was next to us.
That's my boy.
And, you know, we had a great time, and all three of us happened to be there. That was the show we picked where all of us would be there. And we got along with everyone so well. And then everybody was buying comics. And it'd been a while since we'd been to a show where people, they wanted to buy comics. So it was a great experience for us. Very breath of fresh air kind of show.
Yeah. I'm so sad that we weren't able to do it this year. But there's next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Fingers
I mean,
crossed.
It's not that far away.
I think everybody is a little bit sad about their said convention getting canceled.
Yeah, conventions in general, but you have to do the right thing in times like these.
Right.
Because there's there's just so much that, has to happen, and things have to go along. And hey, look, we're managing it. Look how well great creators like yourselves are going and using social media to still continue to get your names and your work out there.
Yeah, we were a little.
Impressed.
Go ahead, Larry.
Go ahead. No, you go.
No, I was just gonna say, it was quite a surprise. Like our Indiegogo campaign, basically debuted the day of. It felt like it.
Yeah.
And,
no, it really was. It was essentially.
You should have heard the conversations. Do we let it go? Do we cancel it? What do we do?
We'd been planning basically that date for at least a month for our go live, and then we had to have this discussion. Do we do this as we're starting to get locked down, or do we not? And we made the decision to go
still have their jobs.
Well, I mean, and that was the thing. We didn't want to ask people to buy our product when there was so much uncertainty about jobs and about the future. So we went ahead and started it, and try to be very respectful about saying, hey, we know a lot of our normal audience weren't really able to participate at that point in time. So we found that we had a bunch of other friends and acquaintances and various people who really were interested in getting the product and reading it. And, ultimately we felt like, hey, we're all locked down anyway. Why not offer people new entertainment? I know everybody burnt through their Netflix queue pretty quickly once the pandemic hit. So
Netflix. The thing that's actually better than Disney Plus.
Man, is this a war? I'm glad I didn't wear my Disney Plus t-shirt.
Okay, don't get me wrong. I have both. I do have both, and I do watch both. Disney keeps going, here, you watch this, but you want to watch. No, I really don't. If I had a dislike button, I'd like to push it, please. Please? No?
Yeah. So
I forgot.
Now the real question, though, is do you have the HBO Max yet?
Mm.
I have it. It's on my phone. It popped up on my phone. I don't pay for it, but
you're an
like
AT&T-er?
no. I just had the old. I'm not a subscriber of HBO. Was it Now? And then I woke up one day and it said HBO Max, and I was like, oh, I have HBO Max. I mean, I can go on and see what's on. I don't, I can't watch anything, but it is on my phone.
Nah, I don't think I'm going to be getting that one. I think I have enough between Twitch and YouTube and Netflix and Disney Plus.
Right.
What is it, Twitch?
It's gotten to be a lot.
Now live. No.
Wait, we're live?
On
What's
Twitch?
That means
What's a Twitch?
You can't edit out all the mistakes. Come on, guys. Seriously. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
So think of Twitch like YouTube, except for everything's pretty much live, and it's an easier way for a creator like myself who does things like gaming to make a name for themselves by building a community. Because you're doing it live, so you get to talk to the people in the chat live. You get to build a community, build friendships, and it's just a great opportunity. And unlike where YouTube, you have to have so many subscribers and so many likes to start making money. People can choose if they like your content on Twitch to subscribe to you for $2 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month. So it's a lot easier for a creator to be able to make money and really build a community and get to really know people. So that's why I do.
Are you writing all this down, Mark?
Yeah, Mark, we gotta get one of those Twitches.
Yeah.
We gotta get a Twitch or whatever that is.
We can compete.
You can do it. I'll help if you want.
We gotta get one of those Twitches.
It's really easy. When you start off, they just ask for you to get affiliated because they don't want you to make money if you're not really doing anything. So they they ask you to stream like 40 hours in a month.
Right.
They ask you to get like at least 3 people watching your content and talking in the stream at one time. And so their regulations versus YouTube's is way easier. They're more content friendly. Is what I
yeah.
So do it.
Well, and there's been a lot of controversy lately about YouTube, right? On the cutting down on the creators, or I only halfway follow it.
Okay, so what happened at the beginning of at the end of last year, going into this year, YouTube got sued because they admitted that children under the 13 years of age was watching YouTube, and because of this, they weren't following the internet rule, which states 13 years of age and up is adult, and 12 years of age and under is a child, which means that you can't have the ad content onto their videos, which is why there's a YouTube Kids or whatever. So 12 and under were supposed to watch that, but they made the thing of, hey, we're doing this. And YouTube has this thing where if your stuff's too adult content by dropping F-bombs, things like that, you get demonetized, which means you don't get paid. But if you don't make it adult enough, then you can actually get hit for your stuff should be child friendly, but you didn't put it up for being child friendly. So it got a little dicey there for a while.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I just drop an F-bomb and go. If I can get one of them George Carlin words in there, I'm good to go. So, so gentlemen, tell us a little bit about Miscellania 2.
Let me jump in a little bit here. Like you were saying on that first one, we really had some difficulty. Like Mark was saying, about 3 years to put that together. What we were looking for is we were doing cons and we were loving it. We were meeting all kinds of people who were great and creative. A lot of the artists, were not ready for, the big leagues or ready to even do their own book yet. But we said, hey, we want to publish something. We want to publish independent creators. We want to publish people we know. And the idea was that Shane and I we've had a backlog of things we've wanted to get done and put out there anyway. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity to pair that up. And, when it came to that first one, we actually had to threaten some of our friends who we knew were good writers. Mark said, to one of our friends that if he didn't provide us a piece, we were going to publish a blank page with his name saying his story should have been there. And I mean, this is somebody who had stories setting around. So again, another thing that creative people have to overcome is that idea of putting things out there and letting the world see it and judge it. So, these were all things we wanted to do to help push our friends along. And like Mark was saying, when we finished that first one, and we were able to get that first one into people's hands, they were able to see what our vision was, see that we followed through and put things together. We got a lot more people in the second one. And again, the idea has always been that Miscellania would be an anthology, various artists, various writers, specifically in that Comic Con type crowd. We want sci-fi, horror, nothing too dark, nothing too tame either, nothing boring, not nursery rhymes or children's book art. But we wanted to put this together, and like I say, the first one was a real struggle. We didn't know what we were getting. We worked with a printer locally who didn't know what they were doing. So Mark and I still fondly remember the first day we opened the boxes and got to see those, and we were very happy. Yeah, there we go with Miscellania 1. It had a good weight, had a good size. I don't know about Mark, but my house smelled like that printer's ink for about a month.
Yeah.
But again, it was super exciting. And then for issue number 2, we found that we had an opportunity to bring in a mutual friend for layout work as well, so that we could get to look a little more like our original vision as far as laying out. The first one layout job ended up falling on poor Shane, who was doing so many other things, and obviously it wasn't his dream to work in magazine layout. So the addition of a layout artist in the second one has really helped us. And we're hoping that maybe in another year or so we'll get a third one out and continue to improve on it. Again, so far we've been very happy with the results.
Which does bring up a question, because you did mention it's obviously a lot larger than your regular comic. What made you decide to do the magazine size? I mean, just to give you guys a reference, this is a comic book, and this is the size. So what made you decide to do the bigger size?
I had the bright idea that if we added more paper or more pages, but used a thinner paper, it would end up costing about the same. But then when we got to the printers, it didn't turn out that way. So a little bit of a sticker shock on our price of the second one. But the idea really was that we wanted to make sure that the people who were buying these at the cons that we go to were going to get a good value for their buck and get a lot of stuff. And again, we have a lot of people that we want to see in print. We've had a lot of friends. Some of them have published their own stuff and then got a little discouraged, and we're like, they had a project that we could put in there, and it just turned out being that we had a lot of good stuff to go with. And I don't know, did we leave? We left a few things on the cutting room floor, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but,
we did.
Not too much had to be cut, but I always wanted it to be 100+ pages was always my goal. So
right, and the actual magazine size just came from when we started talking about it. We were huge fans of heavy metal and 2000 AD and the old Omni sci-fi magazines, and we just wanted to do something that size. We've got this other pipe dream where we make a Treasury edition comic. The real huge ones like they had in the 70s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's our next
That's
dream
on the plate
project
for the next decade.
Print it in full color, hopefully on newsprint on the interior, make it a real
another
real
thing
throwback.
about the format, like going to conventions, there are so many people that go to conventions and you talk to them and we pitch stuff, and then it gets to the point where like, oh, you're interested in this comic, and they just look at you and say, oh, I don't buy comics, like I don't read comics, like. So it was partially kind of like a change in format, was like it was less scary for them at that point.
Right.
Like, oh, here's a magazine,
By the way, hi viewer, you're more than welcome to, if you have any questions for these guys, you're more than welcome to write it, and they'll be able to see it, and I'll pop it up on the screen, and I'll even read it to them.
We have a viewer?
Hi, viewer.
You have 2, actually.
Hi, 2
Wow.
viewers.
That's
Hi,
amazing.
guys.
We want to thank you both personally for watching us.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
By
Round
the
of
way,
applause for the viewers. Viewers.
my favorite thing is watching Shane like, this is my book. Okay, what are the stories again? Okay, I think I got this covered.
One of my favorite things is just I like to just flip through it and look.
Yeah. Well, when we did
when
we did the first one, Larry and I went to pick them up at the printers. We did them here in West Virginia, and the very first thing we did while the sales guy was still standing there was we opened up a box and we took one out, and it was like this massive sigh of relief because nobody had ever done a magazine, them or us. And we were like, oh, it feels right. This is the way a magazine is supposed to feel.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you guys, like I said, you guys do also have comics. Hey, let go of the comic book, please. Do not tear it. I will cry. All right, so
we'll send you a new one.
So the first one is called The Believer, issue 1 and issue 2. How many issues are there? Just the 2?
Just 2 so far.
Just 2.
I'm only about 5 years behind schedule on that. So.
Okay, so what? About another 5 and we're good?
Maybe. I'd like to get I think 3 more issues of that out eventually, but we'll see.
By 2075, it'll be complete.
That'll be time for the next pandemic, probably.
Right.
Oh, goody! Can I have zombies this time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, because I'm ready for that one. But anyway, tell us a little bit about Believer.
Okay, so The Believer is I write and I illustrate that book. It's something that kicked around in the back of my head quite a while ago. To be honest, I think my first inspiration was I thought that maybe I could do a Christian themed book and hit up the dollar signs of the Christian market, and then started writing the story, and I really fell in love with the story. The basic concept is that there's a jailbreak out of a superpowered prison. 13 of the world's greatest supervillains escape. None of the world's superheroes, their version of the Justice League or Avengers, are having any luck, hunting these escapees down, kind of hinting at a bigger plot. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a new superhero shows up dressed in this, blatantly Christian garb, this kind of very symbol-heavy, iconic kind of costume. And he starts rounding up the escaped villains one by one when the superheroes have no success. So the concept is what's going on with that. At the end of that first issue, we find out that the superhero, the Believer, is actually the Midnight Man, the world's greatest supervillain. So really, I'm trying to set up a story in which we're like, is this a bad guy who's gone good, or is this a bad guy who's using symbolism to and the idea of religion and kind of a rebirth to kind of pull the greatest scheme over on the world superheroes. So that's it in a nutshell for me.
Not to mention the fact that now he's getting rid of all the other bad guys, so you'd be like, nope, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine.
Yeah, I'm really trying to set this up to allow the reader to kind of read into it what they want. Ultimately, at the end of the story, I would like the reader to decide if he's a good guy or bad guy. But I don't know if I have the skills to pull that off.
Yeah, you do. I have faith in you. I have faith in you. All right. So now there's another comic. You ready?
We're ready.
The Omens.
Shane, do you know the pitch?
Yay! I know the pitch, but you guys are the pitch guys. So.
Okay, I'm going to give the pitch. I'm just going to steamroll here. So The Omens is another idea I had in the back of my head, taking place in the same superhero universe as The Believer. The idea here is that Maggie Goodwin, the main character, has had chronic headaches most of her life. Basically discovers that she's a genetic experiment. Basically a living weapon. This happens at the inopportune moment of her, I believe, 16th birthday. She ends up being, institutionalized briefly over this because her parents think she's crazy. At which point she now finds herself kind of on the run from both the government and their genetically engineered wolf soldiers who are out to get her as a weapon, and mysterious men in black, extra-dimensional beings who had helped the government in creating her. Along the way, she encounters this other group, the Omens, who are another group of transhumans who are also genetically modified, and they're trying to help her as she, basically flees from these forces that are out to get her.
Cool.
And I write that. Shane's the artist on that, and each issue I try to challenge him more and ask him to do things I would never do as an artist. And I think Mark will agree that each issue he's outdone our expectations. So I want to give him lots of credit for growing as an artist and really taking the challenges and never never being lazy about it and really going above and beyond. So, I'm not sure if you have those issues 2 and 3 there as well, but his progress as an artist is incredible through these.
Oh yeah, I have issues 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, great. So,
Shane is hard at work right now on number 4.
I am.
Are you?
I'm currently.
Number 4 will hopefully be this fall.
Good, because after the first 2, I haven't finished 3 yet.
If I can, I'm going to try and be fancy here for a second.
Uh-oh.
All right.
What do you want to? You can share if you ask. You can share screen.
I'm gonna share my screen. I'll show you what I'm working on right now.
All right. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this the full center, and you can tell us a little bit.
So this is just. I don't want to get into the story. I don't want to spoil it or anything, but this is I do everything on the computer, like drawing wise, and this is just like kind of an example of the page that I'm working on. Like these are like this is the main character here, Maggie Goodwin, and this is the arch villain, Chris Cork.
Shane hates that character. Listen, I'm just gonna jump in and let you
go ahead, Larry.
I originally wrote the character, and I intended for him to die in the second issue, but after writing the first and second issue, I could not kill him off, and I think Shane's always been a little disappointed that he's not been killed off. So maybe I'll come around and let him kill him off in the final issue of the series, but I don't think I will.
I wouldn't say disappointed. A lot of people were dying in the first couple issues, and I was like, "Well, this guy's dying too, right?" Like,
yeah, and yeah, he literally was wrote in with the expectation that he's a well, if you read issue 1 and 2, just a normal kid, no superpowers, just a boy, and the intention was for him to meet a grisly demise. I think in issue 3 is what I planned, and then I just couldn't do it. So
he's your Han Solo.
Yeah, he's my Han Solo. Exactly.
Han Solo eventually died, but in not a very great way. So,
well, yeah.
Now listen, guys.
Chris has a kid to kill him. We'll be okay.
Listen, what?
Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
We did not discuss any exclusive previews for this show.
Oh,
so I don't know what you think you're doing, Shane.
I do what I want.
Throwing out preview artwork.
I do what I want.
I'll present the page I'm currently working on.
Don't listen to him. This is my show. You can do whatever you want,
I'll put the whole thing up here. Hold on. Give me the...
Spoilers included. Shane actually changed the ending, and now he's gone.
This work is finished.
Hold an audible.
Now, obviously, you guys get along, and like you said, Larry, you and Shane met back in high school, was it?
College,
high school, same difference.
Like freshman year, I think, for me. Larry's a couple years older than me.
I was a lifer.
I remember it was a drawing class, and I was wearing a Morbius t-shirt, the living vampire, and Larry, I think you were wearing an X-Men t-shirt. So we immediately identified ourselves.
Yeah.
Because this was the 90s before there was no, like...
I wear stuff like that and nobody ever said anything to me other than, you're weird. That's not fair.
Same here. That's my
You got a lot of that.
Yeah.
You got a lot of it. But there's strength in numbers. So we bonded together, Shane and I and another friend, and we would proudly fly our geek flags, wearing our shirts. And like I say, this was but that was 10 years before the Marvel movies. So, you know, we were really
I would
kind of
say
out there.
too, like the book that we worked on, like we wanted to, you know, do kind of what we're doing now at the time was the Fairmont 5, and that story is in Miscellania 1 and 2. How's that for a sequiter?
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Fairmont
so
5
Shane and I started
versus the
working on that
Mothman.
years ago.
Mhm.
One of our first concepts, me and Shane and another student, we sat around and we had a pitch meeting, and we all pitched like 3 ideas, and you know, much like conversation, I think I steamrolled them into going with my idea, and the other guy dropped out, and Shane and I ended up working on that
Yeah.
story for years. We used to do little mini black and white Xerox copy comics and take them around to a little small conventions we had in Parkersburg and sell them for $1 a piece back in the day. And
I have one
yeah,
of those
eventually we've got this done now in Miscellania 1 and 2, the first Fairmont 5 full story.
Nice. Now, one of the things is you guys get to collaborate, and obviously you guys were friends, so collaborating works really well for the two of you. But what do you think your process would be if you guys didn't know each other and you were looking to collaborate with somebody?
Oh, we would have gave up a long time ago. Yeah, no, there's no way. There's no way. If we didn't have the bond of friendship, this would not have worked out. Just too much compromise. There's too much, accepting each other's flaws. Now, like I say, realistically, Mark and Shane have to accept more of my flaws than I have to accept of theirs. But yeah, they would have left me behind a long time ago. But if somebody's looking for advice in it, though, you know, it's really it really is figure out how to make a bond of friendship with your collaborator and stick with it. Determine that you guys will be in each other's lives for the rest of your lives, and then I mean, Shane and I had a 10-year pause in work when I got married and started my family. So, I mean, it didn't look like it was going to go anywhere until I eventually got laid off from a job I was at. I had a nice severance package, and I took 6 months and said, let's just do this. And I had enough money and said, we'll print them ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I had gone off to graduate school in Savannah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we still talk, but it was like rare that I was back in West Virginia. And what really worked out for me is like when Larry had finished Believer 1, he had like a PDF that he sent me, and I really liked the story. And we kind of like reconnected, and he was looking to do something like that. And I was like, we went through his stack of pitches, and we were like, well, let's do this one. Like,
I remember this very specifically. I have, a file system of, envelopes with loose leaf paper with sketches. And I remember Shane coming across the sketches of the Omens, and he said, what's this? It doesn't look like any of your other stuff, which, at the time I did not realize was kind of throwing shade at my other stuff.
That drawing.
He said, that's the drawing. That's the very drawing. And I said, here's my idea with it. And, I don't think there's anything wrong in saying, I was a fan of Captain America. The Believer, in a way, was inspired by Captain America. The idea of the symbol, somebody who's trying to represent something larger than them, somebody who's draping themselves in something much larger than themselves. And the Omens, I kind of always, I always had that. There he is. I always had this idea of play on the X-Men. My ideas were, I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theory fan and amateur science buff. So I was understanding that the future of evolution wasn't going to be mutation. We're not going to mutate into something godlike. That's just not going to happen. Mutation's not going to do that. But I was seeing that.
Well, there goes my plans for 2021. Bye. No.
Well, on the bright side, I was seeing that the government was spending a lot of money and doing a lot of research and trying to figure out about the idea of transhumanism, that we would modify ourselves to make ourselves different. So I had this idea. I said, well, what if the X-Men instead of mutants were the Omens, and they were transhumans? We did this to ourselves. And the idea also, going back in time, whenever in like the Greek mythology, whenever a chimera would show up, something that was half human and half something else, it was always considered an omen of disaster. So I thought, well, we'd play on that with some ideas about end of the world stuff. And And Shane took to that real quick, and we fleshed out the idea pretty quickly. Shane had a lot of really good input. I think he was the one who, I think it was your idea to put Maggie as kind of the main character, where I was always kind of more drawn to the rat character in the book. But I don't know. We talked about it at the time too. You know, there was a lot less representation in the comic book, so we thought, you know, a female lead, really putting it from her perspective, would give us a chance to show my range as a writer, and, you know, allow us to kind of do something that wasn't so much being done back in that time. So.
Right. And I have to give you guys props, because you do have a comic with a female lead in it, but you don't make it all about, well, look, she's female. Hey, look, she's female. She's just a character. She just happens to be female.
Yeah.
And I have to give you guys props on that.
Are we not saying that enough?
Yeah. Shane will change that in the next issue.
No, Shane, don't.
All right, no.
That's such a pet peeve of mine. Well, my character's this. Here, let me flash it to you. No, just let me have a character. Let me get to know.
Every word balloon is now going to be, I'm a lady. But
I was, yeah. I hugely hated that kind of trope in stories, and I'll tell you what, I was a big fan of the TV show Alias back in the, I guess that was the late 90s, and it was a show that as I was writing, I was seeing a show where they put a female in the lead, but it wasn't just about, hey, I'm a female, and it also wasn't the other thing which I saw a lot, which is just taking a female and writing her exactly like a man and using the same script you would for a man. So, you know, we really wanted to try to do something that was better than
right.
what, you know, was out there in general.
A real good example of seeing that is the movie Alien, Sigourney Weaver.
Right,
her character, when the writers wrote it, envisioned a man, and then she got the part.
Yep.
And they didn't change anything because they didn't give them any first names until after they had casted everybody. So you can make a character a female, and that doesn't have to be their identity. Their identity is the decisions they make, their choices. You know, that's what I want to read about. For me, when it comes to comics, like the comics that you guys make things that are character driven and story driven, to where it feels like I'm getting put into this world. I'm understanding the way that these people are thinking, and that's great creativity.
Oh, that's a great compliment. I appreciate that, Amanda. That's really what we're hoping. You know, one of the main goals is to really write good stories and to put our heart into it and not ever phone anything in. And like I say again, I want to give Shane props in his artwork on that. Going through that changes too. I reread the Omens 1 through 3 over the summer, and saw a lot of that growth too. And even just the presentation of the woman or Maggie from the first issue into the second issue, the third one, there was a lot more. Again, as he grew as an artist, a lot more depth, a lot less of the again kind of more cliched girl in her underwear kind of artwork that we often also see. Not that I think there's a place for that, of course, but but it is not. It is nice to where not everybody is like, okay, female character, put her in some type of bikini. Guy, book him up. Yeah. Really? Right. Okay, why does every guy have to look like the 1990s Image guys? And
I was just thinking of Image. It comes right to
and Mark, you can use that compliment if you want, since you do all the promoting.
There you go, Mark. There you go.
Let me do your job for you. There you go.
Those Image guys really got everything down to a formula where it was this extremely exaggerated male and female form that was shorthand, where you never needed reference, you never needed a model, because everything was outside the bounds of reality. There was always that joke about where are the internal organs, but it was consistent in the men and women.
There's no internal organs. The feet are a little too small, and everybody has pouches. Lots and lots of pouches.
Yep. Now, let's not get too carried away though, because Image did give us Winona Earp.
I'm not saying
so we can't go too far.
And quite frankly, I still think it was enjoyable. I still love my old Wildcats books, and
oh my god,
those things, those were good.
Dude, Grifter and Sellout were like it for me. That was
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I love Wildcats.
absolutely.
I have pogs of
Oh
Wildcats.
wow.
Pogs.
Okay.
Oh,
It's like we're in
whoa.
the 1990s Wayback Machine now, Paul.
Yeah.
It's like let me get my baseball cap on backwards and my no fear bracelet, and we'll be in good shape for the 90s.
I still have my slammers too. I will win. Now, of course,
But,
obviously, Larry, Sean, you guys are the creators, but Mark, you have a very important job as well with this company, helping promote it, taking care of social media. What's some of the techniques that you've learned as someone to be able to help put the name out there and get EMP recognized?
I don't know if I have any techniques.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think when it comes to all this, we're happy to share where we've learned our mistakes, where we failed at things, and I think the things that work for us generally have been accidents. But I won't speak for Mark on that. So go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
You know, I think our strength has always been, and ever since I met these guys, I mean, it's easy to tell here, even probably, that it's easy to talk to them.
Oh yeah.
And I come from a music background. I played in a band for a long time, and when I first met them, I was like, I don't know how to draw or write, but I do know how to stand at a booth and sell merch. So
but that's an important technique.
I was like, you know, we got to get out there to the shows and get in front of people, you know, because people, when they buy a black and white indie comic, they are investing in you, not in your story.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully they love the story, but really they are doing it because they're interested in you. So you can't do that without being in front of people, you know. Right. So we did a lot of that the first couple of years, especially, is just getting out and meeting people. And you know, we're learning the video thing a lot in the last few months, and crowdfunding and things like that, because we've sort of been forced into it, you know. But even then, we're finding for us what works the best are videos. You know, we post a video of ourselves talking. It's so much different, the response we get, you know. So, and Miscellania 2 was our first exposure to crowdfunding, and man, we've had this debate for 2 years and decided just to do it. And then everything happened, and it ended up being really successful. And I think we made a lot of connections with people through that. So now we're looking at that as, you know, what does that platform mean in the future?
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Well, that's awesome. Now, I did notice that when you did the crowdfunding, you went with Indiegogo versus where everybody else goes.
Yeah.
How deep down the rabbit hole do you want to go on this one?
Real basic. We'll just keep it at a basic level. Is you know, I think I'd been watching the Indiegogo Kickstarter stuff for probably, I don't know, almost a year, kind of just feeling it out, and I was seeing that you know, that Kickstarter wasn't kind of acting like a level playing field for people, and you kind of had to really get in with somebody there to get your project visibility. That was one of my concerns with Kickstarter. You know, of course, after this, you know, we've had basically Kickstarter's collapse now. They've been laying off people left and right. I don't know if you've been following that, but yeah. So, I mean, in hindsight, we made the right decision. I think when it came down to it, we looked at, you know, the two things were, we didn't know if we were going to make our goal. And again, our goal was never to even cover the entire cost of printing the book, but we decided this number made us feel successful. So we said, hey, if we only get, you know, $500, you know, Indiegogo, you can keep that $500. Kickstarter, if you fail your campaign at all,
you lose it all.
Yeah. So that was a big one. And then, you know, the second thing was, we have for years worked on the idea of an online store, and we just can't seem to get it where, I don't know that we've ever, I think maybe 2 or 3 people have ordered things from it. We also had somebody.
We have an online store. It's just not popular. Like our website.
Say the word yet. Okay. It's not popular yet.
Our website is very basic. I get it. Like,
and then what we saw is that with Indiegogo, if you have a successful campaign, then you can continue to fund it, what they call in demand. So it's basically evergreen. As long as we have copies, we can sell that on there. So those were our two. I would say those were the two biggest factors. Like I say, I had concerns about Kickstarter. Shane and Mark were a lot more interested in Kickstarter because it had better name recognition.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean that's ultimately really came down to having the idea of the in-demand store and keeping it if we had a failed campaign, because we did not anticipate realistically being successful. It was a long shot for us realistically. So,
and in all honesty, I think you went the right choice due to the fact that Indiegogo goes here. You could keep the money that you raise versus Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed it by $1. Thank you.
Yeah,
bye bye.
Yeah, right.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
and I've recently, because we pay attention to this now, I've recently seen a lot of independent creators in Facebook groups I'm on and stuff really complaining about Kickstarter, that they're meeting their goals or exceeding them by 200%, and they're still not getting advertised by Kickstarter on their pages.
Nope.
And things like that, so.
I'll be honest, I won't go to Kickstarter anymore. I've been burned too many times. Something got funded. I've got money. I paid this guy money for comics 4 years ago, and I haven't received anything from it.
Same here. I bought an album from a band in 2015 that I have yet to see.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that was one of the things Mark wanted to be very sure that we used this as more of a platform to sell the project, not to fund the project. So, we gathered up the funds beforehand. We printed the comic book. We had it ready to go on the very day that our 30-day campaign ended. I think it was that very same day we started mailing out.
I mailed the first batch of packages that night.
Yeah, so
nice.
we got the product about a week before I think it ended, or somewhere in that ballpark, and then Mark is very, very much on us to make sure that we weren't going to keep people hanging on this, because it stinks to be burnt that way, and to put your money out, be excited about a project, and then never see it, or what's even the fun of seeing it 5 years later? It's
right,
not good.
And I'm going to be honest, I haven't heard anything like that with GoFundMe or Indiegogo. You hear most of those stories from Kickstarter.
Right.
I mean, it's just
like
the way it is.
Earlier, like we said earlier, we started this, and 3-4 days into it, we were in the middle of a pandemic and states were being shut down. And then I kind of got, we talked about it a little more, but I kind of probably got a little belligerent about it. Like, we have to make this right now because people have to stay at home. How great could it be if we could put this in their hands at the very end of the 30 days while we know there's still going to be a lockdown? Because Amazon, at the time, Amazon wasn't even shipping anything. Right. So we're like, well, here's something we can do in some small way that can, maybe if people like it, can contribute to making it a little easier.
Right.
Yeah,
something to sit down, read, and the great thing about this is you can reread it a couple of times and catch a few things that you didn't catch the first time in each of the stories.
I hope so.
I hope so too. That's one of the good things about putting so much in there too. I was hoping you read it first, you pick out the things that interested you, and then on the second read, maybe pick out the things that were less interesting, and hopefully be pleasantly surprised.
I think now would be a great time to mention that our in-demand store is still open on Indiegogo.
Yeah.
Good job, Shane.
Are we still running sales?
Sales all done with.
Sorry.
You goofed if you're looking for a deal. It's
that being said, the regular prices are a deal.
Yeah, they're they're very.
I think we still have the perk up though. You've added where you can just get Miscellania 1 in case you got number 2 and missed it. Is that
no, Larry? No? Shut it down.
I should have checked Indiegogo before we came on here. Sorry.
I'm texting you right now.
Hold on.
Shut up about issue 1.
Something you guys probably would know because you gotta let me know when, what, how, why.
Okay. Monkey Paw is out.
Okay.
Is it?
That is, Landon Faulkner? He's your area, right? So we met Landon at SpaceCon a few years back when they were doing Head Shrinker Press.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's kind of been our con buddy all along. And we had an empty page. I said, hey, you want to throw an ad in there? And he said, oh, yeah, we're doing this Monkey Paw thing, which made me super excited because I love his work to start with. And and they just a small company picked it up, so they ended up not doing it independently. And it's up on Global
Really?
Comics right now.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So
So I was like, Head Shrinker's Press, is this like an ad? What's going on here? But I'm interested in this monkey paw thing. What's going on? Is this you? I had to know.
So
Okay.
yeah, what he and Nietzsche Hawkins, is that the other guy that did Head Shrinker Press with him? Am I saying it wrong? I think
I can't
that's
remember.
because we know Landon better because he kind of went with
Right.
a cowboy theme and started doing stuff
Yeah,
on his own.
Yeah, we got to see him at some other cons by himself. He did the PopCon down here in Morgantown one year, and we got to spend quite a bit of time with him that year. So
Yeah.
um,
But it's really cool. It's very Twilight Zone-y, very horror. I just read it the other day. So it's
Yes,
super
me too.
exciting. Yeah. It was super exciting to see his, we were hoping he would do something for Miscellania too, but that didn't work out. So at least we got an ad for him in there.
Maybe
Guys.
Miscellania 3.
Guys,
That's right.
it's really sad. Ready for this? My chocolate melted.
oh my
man.
goodness,
You got to get your air
that's
conditioner
way
on.
too hot in there. Way
It's,
too hot.
it's broken.
You have to boost that fan a bit. Then
What
maybe put a bowl of ice water in front of the fan. I don't know.
was funny is Larry and I were actually talking about this. I was like, yeah, and this is the office. So there's like 2 computers and a PS4, two to 3 monitors, and 3 external hard drives all going at one time.
So first the chocolate melts, and then eventually Amanda's going to melt. Does Twitch
So
have special
you
effects?
mean-
And we just
Off this massive, awesome setup you have here, you don't have a nice little mini fridge on the side to pamper yourself with?
No, I have to say, room. Not that this is about me, it's really not. But in November, we do a 24-hour live stream to help Children's Miracle Network. So I don't put a mini fridge in here because I need to make sure that there's room for at least 8 people in this room to play
Jeez.
games at one time.
wow.
What
And-
games do you play?
Let's
Wait, I
see.
saw Dead by Daylight. I saw those videos.
Dead by Daylight, Rainbow Six Siege, Grand Theft Auto 5, Don't Bite Me Bro, Don't Even Think, Call of Duty games, let's see, Minecraft, 7 Days to Die, Ark Survival Evolved, Borderlands.
Red Dead Redemption?
I don't have everybody having that yet, so I've played it, they haven't.
All right.
Galaga? That's, I think the
Yeah, how
last
do
one I
you
was
feel
into.
about Pac-Man?
Yeah.
If you give me an arcade, I will whip you in it. Can't play it on one of these. I need the good old.
Right.
I have to be able to
You need
do
the
that.
whole machine.
You seem to forget, baby. My very first console was an Atari 2600.
Nice.
All right.
I am 40. I got this. But I play a plethora of games. But yes, Dead by Daylight's one of my favorites. Matter of fact, Pyramid Head is going to be the new killer in it from the Silent Hill franchise.
Yep.
But all right, guys. So we're almost done here. So now it's time for lightning rounds.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Yay!
I'm not prepared. I'm so not prepared.
Got it. Sweating.
You're sweating.
I feel
I just
like
got
I should
real
be doing,
nervous.
I feel like I should be doing like a Brady Bunch thing, like pointing up at Larry. Or...
Like, I'm pushing you down, Mark. I'm pushing you down.
95 degrees in this room. You're sweating. All right, Larry.
Yes.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. It's
And looking
so
through people's
cliche.
clothes is not an answer.
This is so cliche, and this is so unoriginal.
I know.
but The ability to fly.
Same.
It is the lamest,
What?
but it just seems like it's so freeing. There's something about it that I think speaks to the human spirit. We all dream about it at some point in our life.
Yeah.
Just fly.
Agree.
So
100%.
Shane, is that your answer too?
Correct. Fine.
Copycat. You can't use the same answer. Isn't that right?
I want to
Uh,
read
Did
people's
okay.
minds.
you guys
Then
read the rules?
I want to be able to steal powers.
Oh, okay. You want to be rogue. Got it.
Steal your power to fly.
And then
I wanna read people's
I'm
minds.
driving to Fairmount, West Virginia, and I'm going to steal your ability to fly.
You're the
And
worst
Mark,
friend
you
I've
said
ever
read
had.
people's minds.
Yeah, I want to know what people are really thinking.
I think we figured out what Shane is really thinking.
Have you not watched The Twilight Zone, Mark? That's a curse, not a blessing.
I know.
Okay.
I couldn't resist it though.
I can't judge
Okay.
your fantasies.
All right. If they were to do the life story of you, who would play you?
Oh, God. Can
Ooh.
Anybody could answer because everybody has this look of, oh, what?
Well, I think Mark needs to go first this time.
I,
Or maybe we should
I-
answer for wait.
you know-
Maybe we should answer for each other.
I'm thinking David
Ooh.
Hasselhoff.
for you?
I think the Hoff could really
Okay.
handle playing me. He's very diverse.
I want to try to play myself.
That's
But
not an answer. You can't answer that.
Yeah, save that for after. Save that for after, Shane. Just for right now,
Now
just
you're
to answer the
stealing
question.
your own acting ability.
I'm going to be myself, but it's going to be all motion capture.
He's like,
CGI.
I am the greatest person ever.
Mhm.
I am the greatest actor. It's all motion capture, so that's why I have this chiseled jaw this time. No.
I won't have the budget for the effects, but it'll just be me in a motion capture suit.
Would it be weird if Danny Trejo played me in the movie? I mean, I know he's
There you
older,
go.
but I assume
Could it be
I'll
a
eventually be older.
Could it be a claymation movie?
It can be whatever you
Yeah.
want. All right. Are rats cute?
No.
You just no. What do you
I
guys
think
think?
they are. I have
Aw.
2 pet tarantulas, so I can go with that too.
no, this is over. No. Mm-mm. I don't do spiders. Snakes,
Wow.
frogs.
Oh, they're cute.
Wow.
I'm telling you, spiders are the best thing ever. You can't kill them. You don't have to feed them. You don't have to water. Like you can forget about them by accident, of course. Forever. My one spider is 25. So,
Wow. Jeez Louise.
Ugh.
Yeah,
That's
they're
great.
the perfect pet, especially if you have irresponsible children.
Yeah.
I'll stick with dogs, cats, snakes. Thanks. I don't know, not spiders. If I find a spider in my house, I'm out of my house calling a friend. You gotta come kill this thing. I can't get in my house till you get it out. Burn my house down. I don't care what you have to do. Just get it out.
I'm not a
Ugh,
fan of snakes, so I can relate.
See, I love my snakes. I really do love my snakes. All right. If you could purchase any car in the world, what would it be?
Car?
Car. Vroom vroom. What's your dream car?
Kit from Knight Rider.
El Camino.
I have no idea. I'm not even sure I can name a car.
DeLorean.
I was about to say there's the DeLorean. There you go. I'm going back to DeLorean.
I was answering for Mark because he can't pick a car. I will pick DeLorean
yes.
for you, and then
I was
you
going to
give
say,
me a
Mark, you should have said Christine from the Stephen King book.
rest.
Oh yeah, or no? What was it? Maximum Overdrive? The big goblin head on the front of the truck.
Yeah, the Green Goblin tractor
Oh,
trailer.
right,
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
I want a semi.
I'd love to pay off the current car I own.
I love to pay off the
Yeah.
current car I own.
Good answer. Good answer.
That the bank owns.
Yeah, that the bank owns.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, minus the restrictions that we have today, where would you go?
New Zealand.
Ooh.
I go with
Very pretty
Iceland.
there.
Iceland, yeah.
Yeah.
I would
very
go
green
somewhere really, really old. Like I would like to see like Mayan pyramids or
Like
Angkor
you-
Wat or something like that.
Yucatan.
Like
Ooh.
yeah, like really, really ancient stuff.
All
So
right.
somewhere like that.
Nice. All right. And last but final question. If you weren't doing what you're doing now for a living, and we're just going to say comic books are your living,
Sure.
Oh, okay.
what
Yeah,
would
we'll go with that.
Shh. What would your job be? And don't take your actual. If you do work another job, don't take that one.
Oh man.
Oh, get over it.
Uh,
The look on Mark's face.
I don't know, man.
I would love to be like a conceptual designer for film. Or convert an old gas station into a barbecue restaurant.
That's very specific.
But nothing,
Very specific.
nothing in between.
I'm just saying, someone's
It's
been
one or the other.
somebody's been thinking about this for quite some time. I'm taking that gas station and it's becoming a barbecue place. I don't care. Man, my question scared Mark out of here. Oh, there he is.
I had to step aside and think for a second. I don't know. You know, I love like travel cooking shows, you know, or anything like that. Like I love like eating history and diners, drive-ins, and dives, and the Food That Built America was one I just watched. You know, I would some kind of restaurant thing. I think for me, I mean that's kind of my happy place.
But
If I could make the money I make now flipping burgers, I would totally.
Oh, okay.
Okay, McDonald's is hiring. No. What about you, Larry?
Real hamburgers.
Oh,
So, something fun.
I guess dream job, not what I'm doing now or comic books, would probably be a park ranger. I think that's a good
Ooh.
job. I'd like to be
I
outside,
did not see that coming.
you know,
Yeah.
confiscating beer from kids, you know. Not that I would drink that, I'm just saying. Just like it's nice
That's
to be
okay.
a
You can
buzzkill every now and
confiscate
again.
it. I'll drink it for you.
There you go. That's what friends are for. Thank you, Amanda. I'll keep you
No
in mind
problem.
in case that ever works out. For
I'll make that sacrifice. It's going to be hard.
you. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I can see you like handing out Smokey the Bear pamphlets.
Yeah.
Larry-
Totally.
Kids and
That's
stuff.
exactly what I would be doing. I'd like to be.
You would be that park ranger from the village that like finds like
Oh yeah.
finds a blind girl like across
It's
the
like,
fence.
no,
And she's like, I need medicine.
yeah, I'd be like the one who's like, you just take the medicine. I'm not going to say anything about it because nobody's going to believe it. That movie kind of falls apart when you think of that part. But,
My boss is the director. Like,
yeah.
Just remember, if it says anything like Crystal Lake on it, don't work there.
Yeah, good point.
No, listen, I'm just going to throw this out real quick. As a much older man now, I have rewatched those Friday the 13th movies, and it seems like all that Jason really wants is for those kids to stay off of his property, and I feel like he's a lot more reasonable now that I'm an old man.
Kids, get off my lawn!
It doesn't seem like he's asking for too much. Just leave him alone. You know, don't come on my property. I don't kill you.
I mean, even
Just
his
trying
mom,
to live
you are kind of right. Even his mom states in the first one, y'all didn't come here, this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like something that I would say at this point in my life. You know, it's like, I don't know why you're crying. If you didn't come here, this would have never happened. So there we go. Friday the 13th.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. And, of course, tell everybody where they can find you.
Mark?
You can find us on Facebook at ElectroMagnetic Press. You can find us on Instagram at 3 different places. ElectroMagnetic Press, EMP Comics, and Electromagnetic Larry.
I only have the one link.
And, that's fine. And we're all linked together anyway.
Yeah.
And then what else?
Your
you can find
website.
us at electromagneticpress.com. So which is not really updated. It's not the best place to find us. And then Miscellania 2 and some of our other things are available on Indiegogo. And if you just search Miscellania, you can still buy everything on our in-demand store.
And if you have trouble spelling Miscellania, just search for Shane Moore or Larry Morgan, and we'll come up there. Yeah, there you go.
Or just look at it right there. There you go.
Not a common word there, but
all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you guys had fun.
Thank you for
Oh,
having
it
us.
was
Oh
a
yeah, it
blast.
was a blast. Thanks for
I
having
could do
us.
this all night. Can we do an
This-
8-hour
this-
non-game stream for charity?
Not
I-
games.
You should have seen our
I-
text leading up to this because we've never done anything like it technology-wise, and
It's-
we're like,
like,
wait, do we do
all
this?
day,
Do we do
all
that?
day I was getting texts.
We
like,
need a
I was
dramatic
like, she'll
rereading
just
of the
send a
boomer.
link.
Just, all you had to do.
Larry's like, I don't know how to check my Instagram
What's-
messages.
Oh man, so embarrassing. So embarrassing.
What paper
I had no
plane? I don't
clue.
see
I had no-
anything.
It told me I had a message, but when I would go to it, it wasn't there. Boomer.
We figured it out though.
That's
Yeah.
okay. To make it
Yeah,
easier,
thanks, man.
Larry, can you use
Yeah.
Facebook?
I hate Facebook, and I do use it, but
He can use it.
I
Okay.
can't
We
use
just
it. Can I
recently
pretend
made him
I
get
don't?
back on it.
If somebody can help Larry link his Instagram to his Facebook, then he can use Facebook to get to his Instagram messages.
And that's what I told you guys, is because I don't use that messenger. That's why I was messing me up. But I have my messenger on
Well,
my tablet.
Because that's how the
I
government
want you to
gets
say
you.
I figured it out. I figured it out.
Of the three of us, Larry has 3 teenagers in his house.
Oh, that's true.
He should be able to figure this out.
And a day job in technology. So
Okay. Yeah.
go figure. Go figure.
You're cut off.
I know.
Tech
I
support
have no
club.
kids to teach me this stuff, and you're lucky I know that the on and off button. I push that, so the fact that I know more than you is kind of sad.
Is this the off button? Is this the off button?
But guys,
It
I
could be
want to thank you guys so much,
Sure.
and of course, I hope that you guys will come back now that you know how to
Anytime.
use the technology.
Yeah,
It'll be a
absolutely.
different link next time. But thank you so much, and everybody go
Yeah,
check
thank
them out. Check out Miscellania too, as well as find the first one. Find The Believer. Find The Omens. Check them out. They're amazing. These guys do a great job, especially with their individual comics, The Omens and The Believer, of being able to not only just drive you into the world with the story, but you really do get to understand and feel what their characters are feeling and going through. And their anthology series are absolutely fantastic, so definitely go check them out. And on that note, guys, stay cool, stay safe, and I'll see you all later.
Thank you. Appreciate
Bye,
it.
everyone.
Bye.